Question, how do you speed up your metabolism? It seems that if you burn calories faster, you're more likely to be lean. If you burn calories faster, you can eat more. If your body's capable of burning up everything you put into it, then you probably feel really good because you don't get chubby. How do you speed up your metabolism? Well, I'm speeding mine up right now. I'm so cold I can hardly talk. I've got snow in the background. It's 0 or less degrees and it's freezing. Great way to speed up your metabolism, because anything that changes you from 0, I'll rephrase that, anything that changes you from comfortable. So if you're in a warm room and your heart rate's at normal level, then your metabolic rate will be at base level. It's called base metabolic rate because you're at a pace that your body can just deal with very comfortably and very safely. As soon as you change that, so as soon as you increase your heart rate, get cold, do something, then your metabolism changes, which is called your metabolic rate. So throughout the day, of course, we do things, we stop, we start, we go, we fidget, we eat, we get cold, we have a shower, we move around. So our metabolic rate is changing all the time. But if you want to have a fast metabolic rate all of the time, so base metabolic rate up faster, metabolic rate sped up during the day, and then this great thing called your respiratory quotient. So there's 3 things: BMR, base metabolic rate, MR, metabolic rate, and RQ, respiratory quotient. I'm so cold I can hardly talk, so this is really exciting because as I'm sharing with you speed up your metabolism, mine is racing because it's so cold. Because I'm nowhere near normal, nowhere near comfortable, nowhere near inside a nice warm room. I'm outside in the cold, snow in the background, heart rate racing because I'm excited because I'm talking to you, and because my body has to warm up because it's cold. So every time you get cold, get excited because your metabolism goes up. Every time you're doing something, get excited because your metabolism goes up. So base metabolic rate is how many calories you burn in a warm room doing nothing at rest. Metabolic rate changes throughout the day. Respiratory quotient is where the calories are coming from. And this is the one I think as exercise professionals we either forget about or we never learnt in the first place, or if you knew about it, you'd be as excited as I am. Respiratory quotient is the mixture between carbohydrate, protein and fat in the aerobic system. So as you move through your day, unless you're in the phosphate or lactate system where you're working really hard and you're pushing your body to the extreme, then your body will burn a mix of carbohydrate, protein and fat. Tiny bit of protein, predominantly carbohydrate and fat. Now, you've probably heard, am I a sugar burner or am I a fat burner, and would you like to be a fat burner? And the interesting thing is when you're not very fit, your body doesn't need very much energy to do anything because you're never pushing it to the extreme. So it says, well, I only store 1/2 kilo of carbohydrate in the muscles, the liver and the brain. My body could probably run on that quite effectively. So you become a carbohydrate burner. It's an available energy. So your body says, well, let's use that 1/2 kilo of storage because this woman's not doing very much. But as soon as you get fit, as soon as you put extreme pressure on your body and you do it on a regular basis, your body will adapt. Your respiratory quotient will change. Because when you do high intense activity, this is how cold I am, my nose is running. When you do really hard stuff, when you push your body really hard, when you go to the extreme, that's when your body needs carbohydrate. It can't use fat, it can't use protein, it can only use carbohydrate. So what happens is your body says, I've got to store this carbohydrate because she keeps pushing me hard. She keeps going outside in the cold. She keeps doing push-ups and jump squats and sprinting and punching and kicking and going to the extreme effort. So we need to store that 1/2 kilo of carbohydrate for all the times that she does high intense activity. So when she's resting, when she's not doing very much, we'll change the RQ, the respiratory quotient, so that she burns predominantly fat. And fat, of course, we have unlimited storage for it. We've got billions of fat cells all over our body. Somebody counted them, as I always share. It wasn't me, but apparently there's 40 to 50 billion of them or more. On average is the 40 to 50, of course. Now, those fat cells can keep getting bigger and bigger, so we can store a lot of fat. And if you're storing a lot of fat on your body at the moment, or you'd like to store less fat, you'd like to empty out some of that fat, then if you change your respiratory quotient to burn more fat when you're resting, then of course we rest more than we can highly intensely be active. Isn't that awesome? So your body literally becomes a fat burning machine. So the change of RQ when you go into the cold, I'm in the extreme cold, so I'm having a change. My body has to, just standing here, my body has to work so much harder to keep me warm. The extremities for my fingers and toes, the blood has to pump much harder to keep me warm. So my metabolism goes up and my respiratory quotient will change. So here's the awesome thing to remember. Your body will adapt. Whatever you force it to do, it will do it. If you want your body to look after you, it will. You just have to look after your body. So if you want to become a fast calorie burning machine, if you want to become a fast fat burning machine, if you don't want to have to diet or worry about what you're eating or restrict the favorite foods that you love to eat, all you've got to do is increase your base metabolic rate, increase your metabolic rate during the day by being active, and change your RQ to get fit. Now, the only way to change that RQ is to force your body to do extreme activity, which means get really puffed or lift heavy or a combination of both. Now, the really puffed, when I go, oh, Rowie, I don't want to get really puffed, the beautiful thing is 10 seconds is that phosphate system. Once you go past 10 seconds, you're now pacing yourself. So if you go as hard as you possibly can for, and literally, you don't count the numbers, just go as hard as you possibly can, keep going until you can't do any more, and you'll find that's about 10 seconds, because the phosphate system, stored phosphates in the muscle, they run out after 10 seconds and they have to be replaced. They can be replaced within 1 to 2 minutes, which means you can recover real fast and go again. So throughout the day, you can do high intense bursts of high intense activity, which increases your metabolic rate, increases your respiratory quotient to be a carbohydrate burner when you're exercising, because that's what your body needs to do those high intensity bursts, and become a fat burner when you're resting. Now, the only other thing that is really important and we've got to take into account is the engine of your body is your muscle. So the more muscle you have, the higher your base metabolic rate. So when you're in a warm room and your body's just resting, the amount of calories you burn at rest is determined by, yes, the temperature of the room, how big your body is and how much muscle you've got. So the more muscle you have, or if you're a woman, the more muscle you can save, maintain, keep as you get older. Because if you let your muscles waste away, they will. And not just your muscles will waste away, but your fast twitch muscles will waste away. And they're the ones that allow you to sprint, that allow you to box, allow you to kick hard, allow you to do high intense activity. If you don't have fast twitch muscle fibers because they've wasted away because you've gotten older, you just have to be a walker. And if you just walk around slowly, and if you just do low intense activity, slow plod jogging, you have a slow metabolism. You lose muscle tissue. There's nothing about doing a walk. It's a lovely experience. Look where I live. It's beautiful to walk out here. But there's nothing that does anything for my body for walking to maintain my muscle. Blech, that's how cold I am. To maintain my muscle. My mouth is so cold I can't even say my words. Isn't that just awesome? I get so excited about that because it means I've got a much faster metabolism. So let me start again. Walking is an awesome activity, but it's slow. And anything that's slow doesn't get you fitter, doesn't maintain your muscle. And then if you add something where you're supported by a bike seat, or supported by the water, or supported by anything in the seated position where the biggest muscles in your body are in the relaxed position, imagine that, taking the biggest part of the engine out, the one that wants to work the hardest. As soon as you sit down, all the big muscles of your legs don't have to do anything because they're being supported by a chair or a bike seat or something you're sitting on. So if you want a fast metabolism, you've got to maintain your muscle. If you want a fast base metabolic rate and you want it to keep getting, or you don't want it to slow down as you get older, you've got to maintain your muscle. If you're a bloke, you can get bigger muscles. That's awesome. You've got testosterone and human growth hormone. So as you lift heavy, you'll be able to put on some muscle size, which means you'll be able to increase the size of your engine. If you're a woman and you haven't been doing any strength training, you can increase the size of your engine because you'll just replace the muscle that you've lost as you've gotten older. And if you're like me, who's been maintaining my muscle all of my life, then you'll just keep your fast burning, calorie burning, fat burning, food burning, yummy, and I always get excited about my favourite foods now, chocolate and ice cream and biscuits and all the things I love to eat. They all get burnt up really fast because I've got a fast base metabolic rate because I've maintained my muscle. I've got a fast metabolic rate because I'm active throughout the day, and I'm constantly pushing my body to the extreme for 10 seconds throughout the day. And my respiratory quotient is definitely a fat burning at rest machine, because I've maintained my muscle. I get puffed all the time, so my body says we've got to maintain her 0.5 kilo storage of carbohydrate, so when she's resting she's going to be burning fat. This is a beautiful story. And I'll start again. Once upon a time in the beautiful South Island of New Zealand was an old lady telling a wonderful story about how the human body works. If you get fit and get strong, so if you get puffed and lift heavy so you are fit and strong, your body will become a fast, fat-burning, calorie-burning, food-burning machine. You'll have a fast metabolic rate, you'll have an increased base metabolic rate, and you'll have a respiratory quotient that says when this person's resting, we're going to tap into their fat stores and make sure those fat stores get empty, because when she's exercising, we need the carbohydrate she can store, only 0.5 kilo, in her liver, her muscles and her brain, to make sure that she can sprint and kick and lift heavy and do exciting things. Get puffed, lift heavy to be fit and strong for the rest of your life. You ready? Fit and strong for long. I got all of that out even though I've got a really cold face. I've got a really fast metabolism. How about you? Woohoo! It's snowing! Woohoo!